It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News, which is live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. It's also live on all our partner stations across the country and around the globe on citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Obuobisa Coleman, and this afternoon I'm here with
Charles Owusu Kumi.
Coming up over the next 1 hour, former President John Dramani Mahama officially launches his presidential bid at the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho with the promise of scrapping ex gratia for Article 71 holders. Also coming up, majority in Parliament justifies proposed constitutional instrument by Electoral Commission, saying the new policy will rather sanitize the electoral process.
Performance of the functions does not necessarily mean that you are eternally adding to. You subtract from, sanitize it. What are subtracting or sanitizing it? And the process of also improving the establishment of your citizenship, you are improving and sanitizing and cleaning the system.
Still ahead, Ghana Water Company Limited and the Public Utilities Regulation Commission to engage residents in mining communities as part of efforts to curb mining in water bodies. And later, security analysts call for a concerted approach to deal with the rising insecurities along the coast of West Africa. Stay tuned as we bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is live on all our partner stations across the country. In the Upper West region, we on Tumpani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli and Chirapa 96.1 FM. In the Upper East, you're listening to us on Rekas 92.1 FM in Bongo Namu. In the Northern region, we are on North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale. And in the Northeast region, we are on Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigu. In the Western region, we're on Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady. In the Ashanti region, you're listening to us on Focus 94.3 FM and Orange 107.9 FM, all in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're on Sela Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala and Holy FM 98.5 in Aflao. And in the Savannah region, we're on Kasha 99.5 FM in Damongo.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for staying with us. We'll settle for the details of our stories now. Now, former President John Dramani Mahama says he will scrap the payment of ex gratia to Article 71 public office holders when elected. 71 office holders include the President, the Vice President, the Speaker of Parliament, the Chief Justice, and Justices of the Supreme Court, members of Parliament, and others. The former president says the move is to ease the burden on the public purse to ensure judicious use of public funds. He spoke at the launch of his campaign to leave the NDC as its flag bearer at University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho in the Volta region.
The constitutional review process that was begun by the late President Atta Mills, controversial Article 71, to reduce the sector and civil service. The payment of ex gratia to members of the executive under Article 71 will be scrapped. And the necessary constitutional steps to abolish that payment will start in earnest in 2025. Persuading the other arms of government other than the executive to accept the removal of these ex gratia payments. Issues pertaining to the excessive powers of the president, proper separation of powers, strengthening of parliament, restoring the independence of the judiciary, independent and quasi-independent state institutions, and depoliticizing them will take center stage of the new administration.
The former president also chided the ruling NPP government for running the economy aground and failing to take responsibility for the current economic situation.
Urgently needs a leader with an unwavering desire to get things done in a no-frills, no-thrills, business-like manner. Not not one enamored with sloganeering, excessive partisanship, personal comfort, and shallow populism. Ghana's next leader should exercise sound judgment and be able to make the right calls at the right time. A leader who accepts responsibility and works to fix the problem, and not one who shifts blame onto others. The leader should be one whose heart is filled with compassion for the people and who has the humility to connect with and understand the needs of the people he serves. Our country requires a visionary leader who will build a prosperous and progressive Ghana for all Ghanaians and not just a few family and friends. We in the NDC will not run a government of slogans. Instead, we will run a government of action. As a leader, you should be held accountable for your promises to the people. Sound judgment and be able to make the right calls, as I said, at the right time. Such a leader must continue and, for emphasis, have the humility and presence of mind to take responsibility. And as I said, in this government, nobody wants to take responsibility for anything that goes wrong. Our next leader should be a leader whose heart is filled with compassion, as I said, for the people who he has the humility to connect with and understand. He should not be a leader who views the public purse as a family japadier, or in English, heirloom.
Former President John Dramani Mahama speaking at the launch of his campaign to lead the NDC at its flag bearer at the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho in the Volta region.
Let's now head to the northern region. Some male students of Obuobisa Senior High School have been left stranded after their dormitory was gutted by fire yesterday. The students could not salvage any of their belongings as they were in class when the fire started. According to management of the school, the affected students are currently being sheltered in the school's dining hall. In an interview with Citi News, the headmaster Idrisu Abdul Karim noted that his outfit is working to get basic amenities for the affected students.
Then we want to meet the district director and the DC. Then we'll see if we can give them some days off to go and see their parents and come back. But the number is not all that large. So we are also thinking of getting them alternative places to be in school. Everything was lost. So I want to see to immediately provide them with the basic things like buckets, towels, sponges, and other things, so that they were able to cope up with the situation. You know, it happened yesterday. Yes, so we are yet to meet the board members at the PTA, and then we'll go and meet the DC and see how best they can help them. If they can't, then we will now ask them to go home for some number of days so that they can prepare and come back. Since the number is not all that large, we are still looking around to see if we can manage the situation so that they will not even go, because we'll be vacating on 5th of next month.
That was the headmaster of Obuobisa Senior High School in the northern region, Idrisu Abdul Karim.
Now, some workers of the Lands Commission are facing trial for their involvement in the underpayment and non-payment of access stamped duties to the Commission. This comes on the back of investigations by the National Investigations Bureau into the finding of an internal committee of the Commission. In a statement released by the Lands Commission, a routine internal audit at the Land Valuation Division identified some discrepancies between access stamped duties and actual payments made to the Commission. This necessitated a committee of inquiry which found criminal collusion by some staff of the Commission, leading to the arrest of these people. The arrested persons have since been arraigned before court, while further investigations continue. According to the statement signed by the chairman of the commission, the investigations by the National Investigations Bureau have led to a broader investigation into financial malfeasance at the Lands Commission.
Let's now head to Parliament. The majority in Parliament says the proposed constitutional instruments by the Electoral Commission will not disenfranchise Ghanaians in the upcoming polls. The EC in the new constitutional instrument is seeking to use the Ghana card as the source document for registration onto the voters' register. Addressing the media, the majority leader, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, says the new policy aims at sanitizing the electoral process.
The performance of the functions does not necessarily mean that you are eternally adding to. You subtract from, sanitize it. What are subtracting? You are sanitizing it. And the process of also improving the establishment of your citizenship, you are improving and sanitizing and cleaning the system. That should be understood by everybody. So it's not just merely adding to the list, which is the function of the Electoral Commission. So the question to ask is, so when the baptismal certificate was taken off, did it serve as a restraint on citizens' right to register to vote? Is that the case? When driver's license was taken off, it served as a restraint on citizens' right to register to vote. Is that the case? When birth certificate was taken off, that was also a restraint. Is that the understanding of our colleagues? When health insurance was struck down by the Supreme Court, that also amounted to a restraint on the right of citizens to vote. When passport is taken off, does it amount to that? There are many more Ghanaians. One should understand, there are many more Ghanaians with baptismal certificates than there are with passports. There are many more Ghanaians with birth certificates than there are with passports. There are many more Ghanaians with health insurance cards than there are with passports. So when those ones were struck off, they amounted to restraining Ghanaians from voting, from registering to vote. Now, if the Electoral Commission, upon the coming into force of LI 2111, was required to conform to Section 1J of the enactment, the question is, why didn't Dr. Afrejan's Electoral Commission resort only to the Ghana card?
The majority leader also accused the minority of habitually attacking persons appointed as heads of institutions by the president without any justification.
They have no faith in the EC. I think it's the trademark of my colleagues, unfortunately. That any institution whose heads were not appointed under the NDC, they turn around to bastardize it and start with the Electoral Commission. They went to the police, bastardizing them, the judiciary, the Supreme Court, bastardizing them, because appointments have been made by the current president. Is that the way to go? As a country, is that the way to go? To the extent that one of them even made a wild allegation against the Chief Justice, that the Chief Justice had come here to bribe some members of Parliament. Eventually, the Speaker had to plead with the Chief Justice that on behalf of that member, that what he did was unsubstantiated, and he pleaded with him for forgiveness. Is that the way to grow institutions in this country? Is that the way to grow institutions? The MPP had no hand in the appointment of Dr. Afrejan. We worked with him, or shall also say, we worked with him, with her and her team. But now that, no thanks to the quarrel that ensued amongst the commissioners at the instance of a committee that probed into the activities and the conduct of affairs within the EC, they had to be changed, and they were changed the very day then the attacks started on the EC.
That was the majority leader in Parliament, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu.
Now, the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission are resorting to public education in mining communities as part of efforts to stop mining in water bodies. Pollution of major bodies by illegal miners continues to affect turbidity levels, thereby increasing the production cost of Ghana Water Company Limited in the treatment and supply of water. The Ghana Water Company Limited believes engaging indigents in many communities will help address the issue. Alhaji Adam Yakubu is the Shanti Regional Water Quality Assurance Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited.
Galamsey has become a very serious problem for us in Ghana Water of late. As I said before, mining in itself is not bad, I think. But when mining is done in the wrong way, as we see in Galamsey, that is our problem. As a result of the Galamsey, dirty water is released into the water bodies that eventually find their way to our treatment plants. And this comes with high levels of turbidity of our water. As a result, more chemicals have to be applied in the treatment of water, which results in high cost of the treatment. Apart from high cost of chemical, we also have destruction of our machines as a result of the high turbidity of the water. And we need to change some either parts or whole machines as a result of this Galamsey.
That was Alhaji Adam Yakubu, who is the Ashanti Regional Water Quality Assurance Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Now, the Ashanti Regional Manager of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, Francis Baidu, pledges his office support to the Ghana Water Company Limited as it carries out the public education.
We from the Commission realize that one of the problems or issues affecting Ghana Water, and as far as the Commission is concerned, is the activities of the illegal miners. So this program was to interact and educate the people and community members of this community so that they'll be aware of their civic responsibilities and then also know the effect of using chemicals and other activities, illegal activities, in doing the mining that affects the river bodies. And the effect is that it affects the operations of the Ghana Water and thereby also affecting or also increasing the cost of water in the country. So that was the need for us to embark on this program to educate these community members for them to know the effects of using chemicals and other illegal means of mining.
That was the Ashanti Regional Manager of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, Francis Baidu.
Now, security analysts are warning the rise in insecurity in the Sahel region must serve as a wake-up call for Ghana and other West African states. Ongoing security threats within countries such as Mali, Burkina Faso have forced them into partnerships with the likes of Russia to fight insurgents in their countries. But a visiting scholar to the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy at the University of Ghana, Dr. Folashade Sule, believes a concerted approach must be formed to deepen security along the coast of West Africa to deal with the matter. Speaking at a public lecture at the University of Ghana, Dr. Folashade Sule says the rising tensions in parts of the Sahel region have the tendency of spilling over the coast of West Africa if nothing is done to prevent it.
First of all, increase regional coordination mechanisms, the Accra Initiative, but also ECOWAS, more coordination, more funding, and also negotiating these partnerships better, especially in the Accra initiatives where there are calls for making also some partnerships with external actors is about them being negotiated better to increase also more agency in these sayings and to be more effective.
Dr. Folashade Sule is a visiting scholar at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy at the University of Ghana.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. I am Wilma Obuobisa Coleman here with Charles Owusu Kumi. Still ahead in the bulletin, all municipal chief executives and assembly members in the Greater Accra region have been deployed to the Tema metropolis to aid in ensuring cleanliness in the city as part of Operation Clean Your Frontage. We'll bring you details of that and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Keys. What could be simpler than a key? Who doesn't have a key? A car key, an office key, a drawer key. But there's one key that rules them all. The house key. The key to a place we call home. The key to the home where everything comes together. The key to a home that is our own. A home where we make life happen with our families and loved ones. Adoha has been working hard for over 30 years to make home ownership within reach for many. Say yes to property with Adoha. Your dream home is one call away. Your dream home is a few clicks away. Visit our Accra project, The Place, by calling 030-2789-757. Keys. What could be simpler than a key? Who doesn't have a key? A car key, an office key, a drawer key. But there's one key that rules them all. The house key. The key to a place we call home. The key to the home where everything comes together. The key to a home that is our own. A home where we make life happen with our families and loved ones. Adoha has been working hard for over 30 years to make home ownership within reach for many. Say yes to property with Adoha. Your dream home is one call away. Your dream home is a few clicks away. Visit our Accra project, The Place, by calling 030-2789-757.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, all municipal chief executives and assembly members in the Greater Accra region have been deployed to the Tema metropolis to aid in ensuring cleanliness in the city. The move forms part of the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative, which seeks to rid the city of filth ahead of the 66th Independence Day celebration scheduled to take place on March 6, 2023. The mayor of Tema, Yohani Ni Ama Ashite, at the beginning of the exercise, which said he is willing to ensure the city is clean.
So like what you know, we're 3 days is for Operation Clean Your Frontage within the Tema metropolis, and we are starting today. Today we have 24 compassion trucks here. We have 650 people drawn from the various security agencies, and then also all the MMDs are here. The 29 of them, we are all here, and we are starting the exercise right here in Tema. The major area that we also put a special focus on is around the motorway toll booth area, where we have a lot of these trucks parked there. In fact, today, this morning, is starting from there. And then we expect to actually tow all these big trucks, which have parked around the toll booth end of the motorway. And then after that, we will put a special attraction or special attention there to ensure that none of these trucks park there again, creating the nuisance and then the nuisance that is creating around the toll booth end of the motorway within Tema. So this is a major highlight we want to see after this particular exercise today.
You heard the mayor of Tema, Yohani Ni Ama Ashite. We are joined over the phone lines by my colleague Kennedy Chumesi, who is at Tema to tell us more. Good afternoon, Kennedy. Now, run us through what has been happening today.
Okay, Wilma, so the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative, we all know, seeks to enforce the sanitation regulations in the Greater Accra region. And this is being spearheaded by the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council under the auspices of the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Portis. So, by the right of persons are expected to claim their frontages in Accra and or their immediate surroundings. And this initiative is currently ongoing in the Tema metropolis. And this forms part of preparation ahead of the 66th Independence Day celebration, which is set to take place on Monday, 6 March 2023. And we also know that the national celebration of the Independence Day will take place in the Greater region. Now with the with the regional celebration, Tema will be hosting the Independence Day here in the Greater Accra region. So as part of preparations ahead of the celebration in the region, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, got-it-wise to bring the initiative in Tema to reach the city of Perth ahead of the celebration. So we started the exercise early in the morning. Over 600 personnel from the city response team and the security intelligence unit have been deployed to various parts of Tema within the selected area.
Now, Kennedy, we seem to be losing you. If you could reposition yourself and speak to us, I think it will be clearer.
Okay, Wilma, is this fine?
Yes, please, it is.
Yeah, so as I indicated, over 600 personnel have been deployed to various parts of Tema from the city response team and also from the security intelligence unit. They've all been deployed to various parts of Tema. We've been to the Tema Community 1, we've been to the Tema Toll Plaza, and then we've also been to Tema Newtown. Now, with this exercise, Municipal Chief Executive and Assembly members of the Accra Metropolis have also been deployed to Tema to also aid in supervising and ensuring that residents in Tema help in the cleanliness of the city ahead of the Independence Day celebration. So basically, the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative is currently ongoing at Tema, is in preparations ahead of the Independence Day celebration on 6th March. It's a 3-day exercise from today, Friday, and then Saturday, which is 2nd to 4th. Now, in the morning, our first stop was at the Tomato.
Kennedy, kindly hold on a bit. We know that the trucks that were parked on the lanes of the toll booth, including the Tema toll booth, were forced to move despite resistance from drivers. We have that conversation here. Let's take a listen to that.
Yeah, they don't have chairman. Anybody at all will just come and park them. Yes. So that is our challenge now. Yes. Because one, sanitation is a major problem. Yes, sir. Secondly, we don't know who controls it. Anybody at all will just come and park. When your time
here, for actual fact, nobody controls here.
That is it. But now, you just litter the place. It's become our responsibility now.
Please, where can you get the opportunity to come and park vehicles like this?
So it becomes our responsibility.
If you are saying that we all travel, I'm a Ghanaian, I'll be happy if you clean here. Yeah. But if you are talking like that, if you go to Burkina, in terms of this, they have a big place for you. After loading, you go and park there. When you are ready, you go. You can go and park there. Don't you know that they are car? No, you did nobody inform us. People, there's a place. No.
Move your vehicle. That's why we are saying that if there's no any chairman here and there's no anyone who controls here, we are also much concerned about the sanitation situation here.
We are
so now we have arranged a place.
Yes.
All these cars should move to that place.
Yes.
Then we have to clean here so that we put things in place.
Yes.
Way forward, before you park here, there is a directive. Yes. You can't just come and park, litter the place, and you go.
Now, those were excerpts of a conversation between the authorities and some of the drivers who have parked their truck on some lanes at the Tema toll booth. Now we go back to Kennedy to tell us more. Kennedy.
Yeah, Wilma.
Yes. Now you were telling us. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. So as I indicated early on, the Tomato Plaza was one of the places where the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative took us to because of the articulator trucks that have been parked on some lanes on the Tomato Plaza, which is a toll booth. So the authorities thought it wise to clear these trucks so that the environment can be clean because of the sanitation issues over there. But there was a little bit of resistance and banter between the authorities and the drivers there because they indicated that they had no parking spaces to park these articulator trucks. But despite the resistance, the authorities ensured that they moved and the place and then the place was cleaned. So the Tomato booth was one of the major places we visited. After that, we went to the Tema Community 1 market and we went to Tema Newtown also. At the Tema Community 1 market and at Tema Newtown, we could see persons engaging in the exercise. Despite even though some closes were not closed as indicated, persons were cleaning their frontages. Some frontages of the market were also cleaned, and the reporter, which is the Greater Accra Regional Minister, was happy about that. The initiative is yielding results aftermath.
Thank you for that update. Our City News' Kennedy Chumesi reporting from the Tema Metropolis.
Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, is proposing the use of the alleged Russian oil stashed at the Tema oil refinery to kickstart the operations of that refinery. COPEC believes a partnership between the company purported to have imported the oil and the Tema oil refinery will be beneficial to both parties. Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year has seen the country slapped with a number of sanctions, including ban on its crude products by the European Union. An international news agency, Bloomberg, reported that 600,000 barrels of oil had been brought to Ghana from Russia. Speaking to City News, Executive Director of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, allayed fears of sanctions against the country and urged authorities to be strategic in the use of the oil brought into the country.
Money to fuel their aggression on Ukraine. That is what the West would want to impose on Russia. But the world basket cannot afford knocking out Russia cargo. You can't. So you take out what China, India, and Korea and others are importing daily. If these countries were now to turn to the OPEC basket alone, the pressure on there would drive prices past 150 within a few hours. And we do not think that the West themselves are looking to sanction Russian cargo completely. No, they are still using it, they themselves, because they buy from India. It's a developing thing, and I do think that, yes, people are right to ask questions, but I do think that authorities should also have a clear-cut agenda with what to do with these cargoes. The company that is known to have imported it has a very low production capacity per day. They are not likely to be able to refine or process all of that volume. We have requested that if that could be used at the Tema Oil Refinery to kickstart toll operations, Platon should consider tolling, a tolling arrangement with toll, so that the toll plant could work. That way, it could be a win-win for everybody. And if they have a way to bring in more, we'll be up for it completely. Thank you.
Duncan Amoah further called on the Bank of Ghana to revert to auctioning dollars to bulk oil distribution companies rather than concentrating its efforts on the gold for oil policy.
We seem to want to quickly depart from that practice where the BOG would give a fair and a level playing field to everybody on the market, to now concentrate on using BOG resources, be it gold or be it the dollar cash, to aid BOST in bringing down fuel cargo that it would sell under a certain, slogan, code name. Gold for oil. Let BOG stick to what it knows to do best. Auction the dollars to the market.
Duncan Amoah is the Executive Director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC.
We'll stay a little while longer on COPEC because it has also predicted a further reduction in fuel prices in the month of March if the value of the local currency is stabilized. COPEC's comment comes on the back of a drop in fuel prices in the first pricing window in March at the pumps. There is more in this report filed by my colleague Daniel Sakiti and read by Kweku Ediama Ansang.
The cost of petroleum products is a major source of concern to citizens as a result of its rippling effect on other sectors of the economy. Fuel prices at pumps witnessed an increase from January through to February this year, with consumers lamenting its impact on their finances. But the month of March has started on a positive note for fuel consumers as Citi News checks at the outlets of various oil marketing companies reveal downward adjustment in the price of the commodity in the first pricing window. A litre of petrol was sold at 14 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos at leading oil marketing companies. Goil, for example, is now selling at 13 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos, while diesel, which sold at 14 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos, is now selling at 13 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. Despite being elated about the reduction, petroleum users still want government to do more to ensure a further reduction in fuel prices.
Drivers, especially myself, we've been always looking on the board for, where fuel is cheaper and hopefully buy. So it's kind of a welcoming news to see that reduction in fuel, but we still feel that there's a lot more that should be done to make us all comfortable. We all know the current economic situation, so any reduction is acceptable and appreciable and appreciated, but if we can get a bit more, we really appreciate it better. So we're calling on the government to see how they can do a lot more for us to get the fuel prices coming down.
I think more can be done, especially as we all can see that fuel prices from the world market is going down. I think the government can do more. And another thing that I think, where I think we have a problem is also the OMCs, that's the fuel station owners. From me, I think they are also not helping so much.
Me like this, I buy fuel 250. So at the end of the day, at least I have to make like 500, double of it. But sometimes you might close and you have a range of 300, 350 or 400, which is very bad. You can't be having a business and be losing. You get it. It's all about the profit. So I think decreasing the fuel prices will affect us positively.
In an interview with Citi News, the executive director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Duncan Amwa, predicted a stable price for petroleum products in the month of March. He based his prediction on developments on the international market. He however says prices of petroleum products could further reduce in the second pricing window if the depreciation of the Ghana cedi against major trading currencies such as the dollar is addressed.
We cannot talk of sustainability yet. The only indicator of sustainability or otherwise would be your currency, the cedi. Whether we'll continue to print more currency, more cedi, and depreciation will set in. And for that matter, the cedi's exchange to the dollar will depreciate in the next 10 days. We cannot be able to forecast that today. But as far as the international markets look concerned, we are not in for any major surprises in March. From the figures we have seen, it is likely that prices could be stable, prices could decline. Some analysts are also thinking prices should go up in the month of March. But what we read, it's likely to be a very stable market for the month of March and possibly more declines. The only other challenge we should be worried about, like I indicated earlier, would have to do with the cedi or the currency.
That report was filed by my colleague Daniel Sakiti and read by Kweku Ediama Ansan.
We stay in the energy sector where some customers of liquefied petroleum gas LPG say they have been forced to fill their cylinders in bids following the increase in the price of the product. LPG prices saw another rise in the first pricing window of the month of March. Currently, a kilo of LPG is selling at 16 cedis, which is a 1 cedi upward adjustment. Stakeholders, including the LPG Marketers Association, have lamented the amount of tax imposed on the product. During a visit to an LPG dispensing station in Accra, some customers deride the continuous price hikes recorded.
The patronus has been low, not like previous. Market is ups and downs. It's not like we used to have it. Even if they come as we wish, it's not full content. They will buy around 14.5, you will buy 30 cedis, 40 cedis, just to cook something small. People don't buy full scale as they used to buy. 14.5 like this, you can buy 100 Ghana. Meanwhile, it's about 222.
I don't expect that they will be making this thing, they will be increasing it. But now, everything have changed. Even your pay is affecting your pay. I even bought half of it because I cannot, yes. the way I am expecting to buy, that's not how the way we want the prices to come down now is just heaping to the top. So we are pleading to the government to at least to reduce it for us.
You heard some customers of liquefied petroleum gas lamenting recent price increases.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News, which is broadcasting live from our studios at Adabaka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, prosecutors have told the Sokorimampong court they intend to forward a docket for the case involving some students arrested in connection with disturbances at the Krobia Sante TVET school to the Attorney General. We'll bring you details of that story and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Keys. What could be simpler than a key? Who doesn't have a key? A car key, an office key, a drawer key. But there's one key that rules them all. The house key. The key to a place we call home. The key to the home where everything comes together. The key to a home that is our own. A home where we make life happen with our families and loved ones. Adoha has been working hard for over 30 years to make home ownership within reach for many. Say yes to property with Adoha. Your dream home is one call away. Your dream home is a few clicks away. Visit our Accra project, The Place, by calling 030-2789-757.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Now, the Convention People's Party, CPP, has called on the Electoral Commission to address concerns raised by the former EC boss, Dr. Afarijan, on the proposed new constitutional instrument, CI. The former EC boss had earlier raised several concerns with the use of the Ghana card as a sole document for registration. He stressed that the CI may not solve the problem the EC seeks to address, but rather disenfranchise eligible voters. Speaking to Citi News, a communications team member of the Convention People's Party, CPP, Sylvester Soprano, says the Electoral Commission must heed to the advice by the former EC boss.
We want our country to go on, okay? And I think that we all do the politics with the assumption that all political actors, especially those who are in government, are acting in the interest of the country. I mean, there's no reason to think they wouldn't act in the interest of the country. And so in that regard, we appreciate the fact that the Ghana card could eventually become the go-to ID for all statutory activities in the country. You understand? And so we appreciate the intent. We don't know too much if the approach is right or appropriate or cynical. And indeed, it was an article written by the former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Afarijan, where he raised several concerns and pointed out potential bottlenecks in the implementation or in the drive to pass the CI. We do not disagree that it should be the sole document. On the other hand, what we are saying is that we want the items that were raised by Dr. Afarijan to be addressed. Unfortunately, for Ghana, the Convention People's Party is not in Parliament for us to directly wrestle the Electoral Commissioner.
That was a member of the communications team of the Convention People's Party, Sylvester Soprano.
Now, shop owners at Aveno, a suburb in the Greater Accra region, want government to help them put up new shops after the old ones were destroyed by fire on Tuesday. The inferno destroyed hundreds of wooden structures used for commercial and domestic purposes. Osikani Mohammed, a businessman whose shop was affected, told Citi News properties worth millions of Ghana cedis were all destroyed. He has therefore pleaded with government to come to their aid.
The from was one as uncle. The from one and I see but you have granted. I can't get them. Sana, first I'm going by. Who buy him? Another time from the men cry me by him, but to see.
We couldn't quench the fire. We called the fire service, but they arrived late. At that time, most of the properties were destroyed. There was a child in one of the rooms whilst the fire was ablaze. I was able to save the child, but I sustained injuries.
Osikeni Mohammed is a businessman whose shop was destroyed by fire on Tuesday at Avenue.
Now, Academic City University College, a premium science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics tertiary institution, has held its 5th matriculation ceremony to formally welcome its newly admitted students into the university. Speaking to Citi News, the president and provost of Academic City, Professor Fred Bagonlori, said his expectations for the newly admitted students were for them to become leaders and employers. He also outlined plans for the year while encouraging parents and students to enroll their wards in the Academic City community.
I want them to have the full Academic City experience, which is based on our 4 pillars, that the learning here has to be experiential, it has to be contextual to the African experience, it has to be an experience of continuous learning, and then team effort. I really want them to go out there and become the leaders that we wish we all are, or the leaders that we need to begin to turn around the corner for Africa. So, good citizens, hardworking, innovators, entrepreneurs, not employees, but employers, making a difference for our economy and for our continent. So the plans are that they will work on entrepreneurship projects. So all our students on arrival all study entrepreneurship. They will do 4 modules of entrepreneurship. They will have workshop and lab experiences integrated into their program. So they will not be doing anything that is different from what Academic City students are known to do, to invent stuff, to build stuff that are needed within our economy. So in Academic City, we really understand the dynamics of where the world of work is headed, right? Technological innovations. We are positioning ourselves as creating future leaders and innovators who will help develop our various economies in the sub-region and across the world. So I think this is a place where we don't just talk about innovation, we just don't talk about entrepreneurship. We try to inculcate that in our students. So where else can be a better place than a place where we are actually walking the talk?
That was the president and provost of Academic City College, Professor Fred Bagonlori. Now an entrepreneurship student, Andrew Kumi, said he's optimistic his time in Academic City will be fruitful.
I feel like this year is going to be very fruitful because of like some courses that we've been eroding. For example, this semester I'll be doing principles of management, and as an entrepreneurship student, even though I've had 1 class, I've been very fruitful and I've learned a lot. So I feel like this sem has a lot to offer, and the rest of this year also has a lot to offer as we enter level 200. My plans for the year is just to like make the best out of my time over here and make the best grades and also help as much as I can. And for those out there, I want to just say that those who have not yet been enrolled into this university is a very good start for you. And you can actually roll into this university, and I promise you that you're going to have the best time of your life because this university offers a lot of opportunities to everyone.
Andrew Kumi is an entrepreneurship student of Academic City University College.
Let's go to the Ashanti region. Prosecutors have told the Asokore Mampong Court they intend to forward the docket of the case involving some students arrested in connection with disturbances at the Krobiat Asante Technical and Vocational Institute to the Attorney General's office for advice. The court adjourned the case to 4th April 2023 after 5 out of the 43 juveniles standing trial failed to appear. Parents who brought their wards to court were not happy about the continuous adjournment. Lawyer for the accused persons, Kwabena Jemfi, spoke to the press after proceedings.
The second time we've come on this case. As usual, it was called, and unfortunately, 5 of the juveniles were absent. Remember, they were committed to the custody of their parents, and the parents were under obligation to make sure these juveniles do report in court. Unfortunately, they didn't come, and the court was not very happy about it. But I'm going to speak to the parents and make sure that the next time they understand the duty they've undertaken to perform. So that's it.
So you say the court was not happy about it. What do you mean?
The court, as usual, wouldn't be happy when you are under obligation to appear before the honorable court and you refuse to do so. That is an affront in the face of the court. But we also understand some of them come from very far away places, and that is how come some of them are absent. Yeah. At the moment, all of them are home. All of them are home. This is an administrative decision for the government to take. So we hope that the processes will be expedited for them to have the access, the chance to be back in school. It's a step in the right direction. Yes, they are doing their job. We also make sure we do our job. Yes, a committee was set up to investigate the facts of the circumstance, and I'm not sure if they are done with their work, but we hope they do the needful the next time.
That was lawyer for the accused persons, Kwabena Genfi. Still in the Ashanti region, an aspiring NPP flag bearer, Francis Adainimo, has cast doubt on the ability of any person who was part of the Akufo-Addo government to lead the NPP to victory in the 2024 general election. He made these statements after he visited the Menchia Palace to announce his intentions of contesting in the NPP presidential primaries, where the Asantehene advised the party to carefully choose a candidate who is likely to win them power. Our Middle Belt Bureau Chief Edward Opomafo has the following report.
Ahead of the 2024 general elections, the governing New Patriotic Party, NPP, is confident that it will break the 8-year cycle for political parties in Ghana. It has thus developed the slogan, "Break the 8." But a flag bearer hopeful, Francis Adainimo, believes anyone who was or is still part of the current NPP government will not be able to attract the goodwill of electors to help the party win the election.
Now, the mantra of the party now is that we need to break the 8. And for the first time, we are determined to set this record in the political discourse of our country. And I believe it is possible that it can be achieved. And one of the conditions that I have outlined about this possibility is that the party requires or the party needs a new face. A new face characterized by unblemishedness, a new face who will come with a new appeal and a fresh appeal, a new face who has a natural ability to unify people, not any kind of artificial ability, but natural ability that people resonate well with him. And a new face who is also not part of this current administration. Because that is what the record shows, that if you have a candidate who has been part of the outgoing government, you are not likely to win. And so I think that we need a new face. And that is what I have been championing to the grassroots of the party, to the rank and file of the party members, that yes, we are determined and we can set this record. And once we can set this record, let us go for the new face, and that new face is no other than Adainimo.
He made this statement on the silence of Owusu at the Menchia Palace, where he officially informed the Asantehene Otumfuo Said to the second of his intention to contest the NPP's presidential primaries. The Asantehene on his part wished him well and called on the party to vote for a candidate that has the capacity of winning the general elections.
That report was filed by our Bureau Chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Opongmafu.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka. Now, some stories we've been bringing is that former President John Dramani Mahama has officially launched his presidential bid to lead the NDC in the 2024 general elections at the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho, with a promise of scrapping ex gratia for Article 71 public office holders. Now, he also chided the ruling MPP for running the economy aground and failing to take responsibility for the current economic situation. We also had the majority in Parliament justifying proposed constitutional instrument by the Electoral Commission, saying the new policy will rather sanitize the electoral process. We also had the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to engage residents in mining communities as part of efforts to curb mining in water bodies, and security analysts calling for a concerted approach to deal with the rising insecurities along the coast of West Africa. We'll bring you some stories more now. The Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, says the government is expected to receive some vaccines for the prevention of measles from the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, in the next 2 weeks. The northern region and other parts of the country have been hit with a shortage of vaccines for the past few months, despite claims by the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, that over 70 million Ghana cedis had been released for the procurement of the vaccines. Reacting to a statement by the MP for Tamale North, Al-Hassan Suhini, on the outbreak of measles in the northern region due to the shortage of vaccines, Frank Anodompre says the government is committed to addressing the challenge.
It's also a fact that it's 3 vaccines that are now in shortage. I think the BCT, the measles rubella, and I think the oral polio. All the other 10, we have enough in stock. Those to deal with meningitis, penta, and tetanus, and so on and so forth. I'm also told that the ministry has made some commitment. Some good monies have already been paid through UNICEF. And these vaccines, relative to ones to cure measles, are supplied by air freight. And per the arrangement with UNICEF, the vaccines are expected in the country in a fortnight. That's what I'm told. In a fortnight, the vaccine should arrive.
That's the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre.
Let's go to some health news. The Ghana Medical Association is urging government to ensure the availability of personal protective equipment for health workers following the outbreak of Lassa fever. The current 14 active cases includes some health professionals who were affected in their lines of duty. One person has so far died since the outbreak of the disease. In an interview with Citi News, the acting general secretary for the association, Dr. Richard Salome, said governments must ensure that all health facilities have the needed protective equipment.
PPEs can never be enough because they are not items that you use and reuse. So we would also call for more PPEs to be used. Generally speaking, it is direct contact to bodily fluids, unlike in the situation of COVID and other respiratory viruses that is spread through droplets or through the air. So in this case, as much as possible, we think there are generally adequate amounts of PPE in most facilities. However, with the increase in numbers, that will require more and more PPEs, and we'll call on government to ensure that adequate numbers of PPEs are procured for all facilities, and then the infectious disease centers that are handling the cases be stepped up in terms of PPEs and other supportive treatments that are required for care of patients.
Dr. Richard Salome is Acting General Secretary for the Ghana Medical Association.
Now, Accra High Court has ruled that the removal from office of the former rector of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, Dr. Wilberforce Gisa, was wrong and unlawful. In March 2018, the Governing Council of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, GIJ, relieved Dr. Wilberforce Gisa of his post, compelling him to initiate legal action against the school. The court has subsequently directed the payment of all his entitlements from the remainder of his unexpired fixed term as rector of GIJ.
The Member of Parliament for New Obuobisa, Abdul Salam Adams, has bemoaned the delay in the construction of the new Obuobisa Sports Stadium by the government. The MP says despite the allocation of about 4 million Ghana cedis for the project, the facility has been abandoned for the past 6 years. He said this in an interaction with journalists in Parliament.
Cumulatively, the project has been there and has remained the same for 6 years. And it beats our imagination after close to 4 million Ghana cedis have been sunk into a project like that. Then the last time I asked a question on this, I was reminding, it was the second deputy speaker, I was reminding him of how, this project would be so valuable and important to the Adansi enclave. I mean, if you come to the Adansi Enclave, we don't have, the facilities are simply not there, yet there's so much talent there.
That was the Member of Parliament for New Obuobisa, Abdul Salam Adams.
And that's how we end the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. We're also live on all our affiliates across the country. For more news, you can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Obuobisa Coleman, and this afternoon I was here with
Charles Owusu Kumi.
Many thanks for doing the listening. Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News. Many thanks again. Have a good afternoon.